All right, so since because I have watched every other adaptation that Stephen King has ever done, I finally had to sit down and watch Firestarter, which we watched last night. And it left such an impression on Kaylee that she didn't even remember what we watched it yesterday.
I didn't, but in my defense...
Less than 24 hours ago, we watched this movie.
In my defense, that same day we tried to start like 3 different movies and we were like so bummed by all of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did forget.
So she's never seen the original.
No, I have not.
You've never read the book. You know nothing about this. You thought that this was a prequel to Carrie.
I thought it was
which makes perfect sense. It fucking
Carrie.
feels like it.
Yeah.
To a degree. I mean, now that you've seen it, you know it's not.
Right.
Like Charlie clearly is not Carrie. Like, Carrie is not aware of her powers much, right? Like, she doesn't get them until she's has her period, and that's what really starts to bring them. I mean, she has them before that in the book, especially. But regardless, we're not here to talk about Carrie.
No.
We're here to talk about Firestarter. So, I have seen the original, of course. I've seen every Stephen King adaptation, film, television, whatever. I've even seen fucking Firestarter 2 rekindled. So, yeah, I've seen all this shit. Okay, so what do you think as somebody who has no idea of the story or any of that stuff? Because this should be like, if this is going to land with anybody, it would be you. Because there's no comparison to the original.
Yeah.
You don't know the story. You don't know anything. So this movie has you much easier than it has, somebody who's seen the original or read the book or any of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I thought it was just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why I didn't remember it. Because, I think also partly, I in the back of my head, I'm thinking about Stranger Things and 11 and, the whole, government testing on kids to be, psychic war or psychic weapons or whatever.
That's why they approved this movie, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think that Stranger Things does a much better job at it. But I don't know. I think it's a goodish movie. It's not something that I loved or would rewatch. I feel like the acting was okay from everybody. I didn't really buy, what's his name? Why did I forget his name?
Zac Efron?
Zac Efron, wow. I don't know. He didn't really feel like a dad to me. That was a big, distraction throughout the film. I don't know what it was, but I just was having a really hard time thinking of him as a father and thinking of him as her father specifically. I don't know. I didn't feel the father-daughter bond. I feel like that was really lacking for me, and I'm a huge fan of father-daughter stories, and when that chemistry is on, it really is wonderful to see, but with this one, I didn't get that. I don't know. There's a lot of kind of underwhelming moments too. I sort of wanted to see more with her being bullied and more of the parents' powers and the mom especially. And there's just a lot of stuff that I would have liked to see more of to build to where it ended.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any of that, so I was kind of just oh, okay, they're constantly on the run and afraid, but they also don't feel super afraid. I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place but that's sort of how I feel. I can justify everything enough, but I just think that there wasn't enough punchy motivation for me to really get invested in everything.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So I think the biggest sin of the film by far, for me, is that everything feels so underdeveloped. This is in every single aspect of the film, right? The only thing that I would praise in the film, and this is just an obvious, is John Carpenter's music.
Yes, the music was wonderful. So
you've got Carpenter and his son and the other kid. I don't know if it's any relation. I don't think it is, but if it is, I don't know of it. But Cody Carpenter, and then the other guy, I always forget his name, that does the music with them now too. Good stuff. But the characters and all that stuff, every single aspect, the dad daughter, the daughter mom, the mom husband, all of that super underdeveloped. The relationship with the old man that they meet, the relationship between Charlie and Rainbird. See, Michael Greyeyes, who plays Rainbird, I think is just an excellent actor. I really like him. And I actually really like him in this movie. I just feel like he's given nothing to do. Like, he's really cool to me with what he's given. Like, he gives it his all. But there's no development there at all. It goes from, like, he's this guy to he's this guy with nothing in between.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we go from this guy to this guy? And where's that relationship? And the very, very end of the movie, you're like, this isn't earned.
No.
This, how? What? No. Why would I buy that happened? There's no way I would buy that happened. Because you didn't earn it. You didn't earn it because there's no development of anything in the film. So, like, I felt like this film had the potential to be good. It, like, had certain pieces in place, and I feel like had they spent an extra 20 or 30 minutes developing everyone and really getting you to care about Charlie, getting you to care about Andy, her father, about getting you to care about the mom and the relationship between them as a family, and you're rooting for that. And for, like, the more impactful moments when characters die or, things happen. You really should feel that. And you just don't. And it feels like kind of a softball on some of these things where it's like, you should be able to set that up for this moment because this moment's going to invoke those feelings pretty easily. So really all you've got to do is focus on development, right? Like, Stephen King's already laid the groundwork. The original film has already laid the groundwork. All you got to do is focus on the chemistry of the characters and sell them as a unit, a unified front, so that when there is some dismantling or strife, that you feel it. And unfortunately, you just don't. You just don't. And to waste Michael Greyeyes like this as this really complex villain that they wanted to do, because that's what he is. He's this conflicted, complex character that they watered down. They, like, gave you hints that he was complex and that he had layers, and he really gave that performance. I felt that from him. I felt he gave the performance that would have justified the heel turn or whatever, or lack thereof. But it's just so abrupt and so out of nowhere. It's just kind of like you shit on the guy's performance by not allowing it to breathe and to take on life and to be organic. That's frustrating because I think he's fabulous and I really like him in this movie, and I just think they wasted it, and it's frustrating because the guy who plays him in the first one, George C. Scott, I like him a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, he's not some Native American. He's not like that. That's all silly to me. But they build a much more believable relationship. This film kind of had an uphill battle for me anyway, because I don't love the first movie. I think it's fine, but this is a major downgrade, and to a film I don't even like that much. Like, the first one's fine. This is less than fine. This is not terrible, but it kind of is because of how subpar everything is. but I feel like they could have really made this work. And I was surprised that it was R-rated. There's got a lot of F words. And then there is a pretty gnarly scene with Charlie and a guy in a car that I was like, ooh, that's cool. And I wish we could have got way more of that. But I feel like I'm shocked that they didn't go for PG-13 on this film. Because they're trying to appeal to the Stranger Things audience.
Yeah.
So they isolate the audience that might actually watch this to then kind of piss off all the people who
that are
bothered.
watching it for the R rating.
Yeah, it's like, this is not needed to be R. No. Zac Efron was fine for me. I didn't dislike him. I didn't like him all that much. I thought he was fine. I thought the little girl who plays Charlie was good.
Yeah.
You know, but they did little with her.
I think they all separately were fine. I just, like, didn't feel the connection between them. So.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like... Why does... This says it's... Firestarter 2 Rekindled is 2 episodes? Really? So it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long altogether? Damn. I don't even remember that. I remember watching. I own it. I have it right up there. So, I don't remember it being that long. Anyway, well, yeah, not a recommendation. No. Just wanted to talk about it really quick and mull over my gripes, which I have many. But watch Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, Michael Grey Eyes is fucking awesome. And Blood Quantum on Shudder. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, he's great. This movie isn't. Bye.
No, bye.